Worldwide this morning, growing concern over a growing health crisis, with health officials here in the U.S. moving fast to prepare for what the CDC has called an inevitable spread.
Caregivers and governors in hotspots across the United States are sounding the alarm that they'll face a shortage of ventilators if coronavirus cases continue to surge.
We're past containment. This will spread. It will spread in the United States.
This morning, Washington State remains the center of attention as the coronavirus spreads quickly.
Project V is the name that has been given to the endeavor that was a joint effort between Ventec Life Systems out of Bothell, Washington, and General Motors to meet the desperate need for ventilators. The message at the time in mid-March was the United States alone needed 960,000 ventilators within 6 weeks, or 4,500 Americans could die per day.
There are 368,000 cases of COVID-19 in America, and the most serious of those cases will require a ventilator.
And those ventilators are crucial to keeping people alive.
The U.S. need could be massive, up to 960,000 ventilators.
In a worst-case scenario, ventilators would be one of the choke points, if you will.
That's a shortfall of roughly 790,000.
Nobody in their wildest dreams would have ever thought that we need tens of thousands of ventilators.
We're looking everywhere and anywhere across the world to get ventilators.
You know, I was up early on a Sunday morning, and I was just reading the news early in the morning, having a cup of coffee at home on the weekend, and I came across the Forbes article that was recently published, and it was an interview with Chris Keipel.
Chris Keipel is the CEO of Ventec Life Systems, and we've worked with them for 5 years now, doing test systems for their ventilator.
And so they had just started talking about the need for ramping up ventilator production. And Chris landed this interview with Forbes, and he's basically saying, hey, we need to increase our production by 5x. And so I sent him an email right then that morning. I copied Dan Purvis and said, hey, Chris, I just read your article, and I want you to know we're here to help.
I remember an email comes into my inbox where Tim has emailed Chris Keipel, who is one of our clients, and said, hey, how can we help?
Dan chimed in as well and said, hey, yeah, we're here to support you any way that we can. Chris responds back to us and says, that sounds fantastic. Let's get a meeting set up this week. We got on the phone with them Wednesday morning.
And the level of intensity coming out of that call, it became very apparent to me that we could probably help them quite a bit. And so I said, I think it would be beneficial if we had somebody in your 8 a.m. morning meeting starting tomorrow morning there at your office. And he goes, absolutely, absolutely. And so we hung up, and then we got back to the senior leadership team, and I said, guys, I committed us to be there. Somebody's going to Seattle this afternoon.
And so that was the start of Project V for us. We figured out Dan should go, I should stay, and get prepared to ramp up operations because we're about to do something really big.
And so I went out of my bedroom where I was having a Zoom meeting and told Julie that it was time to take a walk. And we started walking down the neighborhood street that we live on, and I said, babe, I'm going to Seattle this afternoon. And then we just walked. And I could watch her processing all of the emotions of, at this point in time, the level of cases had gone from 0 to 80,000, and the hot zone with the most deaths was a nursing home 9 miles from Ventec Life Systems. And so not only am I going to leave my family for an indeterminate amount of time, but I'm going to get on an airplane, and then I'm going to fly to the hottest of the hot zones in the entire country amidst the steepest of the curve, and nobody knows what's gonna happen. And I remember just walking in silence and going, babe, you know I have to do this. So I went home with her and packed and came to the chair where we both sit and drink coffee, and she was sitting there and she was softly weeping, and I just kissed her on the top of the head and said, I'll see ya, and off I went.
Dan was on a plane that night, and Thursday morning gets into significant meetings with Ventec saying, okay, how are we gonna do this? Quickly, it was identified that the biggest bottleneck was test, which is obviously the place where we can help the most.
And about mid-afternoon, they said, there's some people from General Motors coming tomorrow. They'll be here in the morning. Friday morning, I had asked if I could go and be in the conference room, and they said, sure. And so the meeting was supposed to start at 7 a.m. I got there at 6:30 and staked a spot at the conference table. And they all show up and everybody's kind of introducing each other. And so you go around the room and I said, I'm Dan from Velentium and we do the test systems. And that was a huge moment for our company where we had an opportunity where our unique knowledge, because of our 5 years of history with Ventec Life Systems, could step into the fray and make a difference. We are uniquely gifted for this. We are certainly impassioned for this. And there's a desperate need for this. My name's Dan and we do the test systems.
Dan very quickly took over kind of the assessment of what was needed on test. He went around from station to station to station.
Here at the external O2 controller metering valve. Here we go with internal flow. We're here at the center band leak test.
And he figured out, okay, if we're gonna build this many per month, this many per day, this many per hour, we're gonna need 3 of those and 7 of those and 23 of those and 21 of those. And
it became blatantly obvious that the test systems were gonna be hypercritical. Getting all the parts for a ventilator, then you teach somebody how to put that ventilator together. And you could do all that there at the factory. The test system, on the other hand, as soon as you put a subcomponent together, you have to then be able to hand it into the test system and verify it's right. So not only is it critical to make sure it's correct, but it has to be there and ready and validated when the first part is finally made. I've got to be completely done. It got to Sunday morning. Chris Keipel, the CEO of Ventec, and Phil Kenley, the head of the GM effort, are talking, and basically they said, we want to build 10,000 ventilators a month in a factory that we're going to rebirth that had been shuttered for a long time. So from hundreds and low hundreds a month to 10,000 a month. So I opened up a spreadsheet and started working things out. We got to 141 test systems. And so I sat with each one of our leaders at the beginning of this time and I said, look, if you're gonna lead on this particular team, I need everything you got and then some. And so I want 18 hours a day, 7 days a week until it's done.
Dan and I at this point are not really even thinking about the financial side of it. We're thinking about this needs to happen and we are the best positioned company worldwide to help make it happen.
And so as we looked at that, the only way this is gonna have half a chance, and I do mean half a chance, is if we start buying today. And that's exactly what we did. To $2.2 million at risk.
We made the decision, we're moving forward without a purchase order, and we are gonna use our full line of credit. We're gonna expand our lines of credit with our suppliers. We will do whatever it takes to get this stuff in order and get it moving, and it'll all work out in the end. We'll worry about it later. What started happening after that was a little bit of slightly ordered chaos, but it was ordered, I promise.
We had to work 18, 20 hours days to meet our deadlines.
We as a team was asked to source over about 35,000 parts.
We were doing anything we could to find these parts.
I was able to pull in my wife and her brother to help with the purchasing project.
I started calling my neighbors and friends when I was like, could you part ways with your company for about 3 days and just buy stuff?
What was really most important though at that time was to get first article of every system out, one of each, within 2 weeks.
You know, until the parts started coming in, you had team leaders of the people building the test systems that really couldn't build that first test system until the parts were all in. And it wasn't like, okay, if I've got 5 parts, I can put 5 parts on. I mean, they needed everything.
We doubled the size of our company through that time. We went from 47 people to over 100.
I had 2 of my sons play hotshot delivery and then had 2 brothers pick up parts and take them from Houston to Indianapolis.
Okay, so I'm here at the Indianapolis airport. Seth has just made another run. Say hi, Seth.
Hi.
And we were bringing what's called a test lung, which is just a volume, just like your lung is a volume. But we just shipped this in a suitcase. Now, I don't know what you think that looks like, but it's okay because we've got Stacy Carroll to the rescue with Boom. This is critical component. Hey, TSA, leave us alone. And by the way, it's by order of the president. Boom. The story continues.
We ended up building 21 different types of test systems.
My role was one of the system owners, which meant that we're in charge of getting all the bill of materials for all the systems and then making sure the system gets built properly.
I told one of our engineers, I said, I need you to take all this stuff, and I need you to put it in one sheet.
And in that spreadsheet, you've got engineers putting new parts in. There was a black line in every one of those bill of materials. Above that black line, you've got purchasers buying stuff. Then you've got people in receiving stuff against that same deal. I saw over 50 people in the same sheet called the multi-BOM, or the multi-bill of materials, at one time.
So I'm used to a project taking anywhere from 3 to 9 months. And we had to get this done in 3 weeks.
There were moments you got to where your immediate reaction is just stop. Like, I need the world to stop spinning around me momentarily for me to collect myself. And it was, you know, count to 5, try it again.
Hey, for all you playing at home, this right here is called Nothing But Green.
It was just interesting to watch. I mean, it was slightly ordered chaos.
It was like sprinting down a pier while you're also trying to build the pier in the fog, and there are piranhas in the water.
I've just gotten a press release that says Ventec Life Systems announced today General Motors will build ventilators at GM's Kokomo, Indiana manufacturing plant, with FDA-cleared ventilators scheduled to ship as soon as next month.
We sent several people to Kokomo.
It's coming together. It's really fun to see. Not messing around. You can't chart to end all Gantt charts. It's looking serious.
Then we got to the shop floor where our systems were in place, and I'm looking around going, oh my word. Our little domain was half of the plant. Half of the plant. Build it, test it. Build it, test it. And so we had one of every system there and ready for the assemblers, but then we had to have more and more as they continued to train more assemblers, bring in more parts, and amp up the rate of production. So we would get there early and get things working. We would then babysit the systems all day long while they were building to make sure things stayed working. And then when they all left for the day, we would get more systems up and running deep into the night. I was in the Kokomo Courtyard by Marriott at, I think it was 11:30 at night, sitting there in the lobby, just kind of taking it all in. And in walks Joe Cipollone, the head of engineering for Ventec Life Systems. And he sat down across from me, and he goes, Dan, I gotta tell you, I'm stunned. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I didn't think you had a chance to get this done. He goes, that's a compliment. I was like, no, I hear you. He was like, I mean, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe what you guys have done.
I can tell you how we were able to do it. First and foremost, it goes back to our values and our culture had laid the solid foundation. Everyone here gets it. They exude our values, and they attach and adhere and believe in our passion of changing lives for a better world.
Being involved in something so important, something that really mattered, not just something that would make our clients money or would make something easier, but to literally save someone's life. It's satisfying.
I think the project kind of honed all of us, like it formed the team more solidly. It reinforced the values of the company, and you could see what those values, when applied, did for your clients.
I enjoyed the impossible becoming possible.
It's fun to have a lofty goal, and especially an honorable goal, lofty and honorable goal, and then to try to hit it and to do it with a group of people that are all like-minded. I think it's just something special about doing that together as a team.
We were in the trenches together.
We did it successfully. We got there.
We got it done. We did it.
28 days after I met GM for the first time at Ventec. And they've got a box out there on a table and a pile of Sharpies. They say, hey, write on the box, it's going to a hospital in Chicago with the very first ventilator in it out of this factory. And I wrote, we are so thrilled to partner with you to change lives for a better world, because that's who we are. And we did it.
It was really the best of American innovation with the best of American manufacturing coming together to solve problems for America. And it's been amazing, the speed and efficiency that has gotten us to this point to actually be delivering a critical care ventilator today.